So welcome back to another video. I've actually got about £1,300 worth of paints and products to test out, and I just decided to go with the Army Painter. So this is the new Mega set and it's the new Fanatic range. So they're discontinuing the original versions and now they're making the new formula. So that was the plan. However, I set out some colours from the new range and I just did a little colour sample on the top of each lid. But once they'd dried and I sat down to start the video, I noticed that some of them are shiny, some of them are more of a satin finish, and the colours are different. So if we take a look at like Fur Brown, I don't know how well it's going to show up on this camera, but this one's much lighter. And it's sort of got like a shiny, glossy look to it. It's the same with the purple. So they're not the same shades anymore. And yeah, even Greed Gold. You can see the difference between the new one and the original. I wasn't expecting that, and that's not really any good to me. The original Army Painter were really good because they all sort of, you have consistency in how they dry. They all dry the same. They're not quite as matte as the Scale 75 scale colour range. Just show you as a comparison. So this is a little bit more matte, but you could use these together and you wouldn't have much of you wouldn't be able to notice the transition. So if you was using dark blue Scale 75 and a light blue Army Painter, you wouldn't notice the change in finish. But with the new ones you will. You'll clearly be able to notice that one tone's glossy and the other tone's matte. Because of the way they dry differently and the colour tones are different, I'm not going to be using these today. I'm going to be using some different paints, which I'm going to bring in just a moment. Bit disappointed when it comes to the new Army Painter range. I've actually just spent about £20 just buying duplicates of some of the originals that I've got, because they're selling them off. So you can pick up some of these original ones for as low as £1.25 per bottle. I found one site selling them for half price, and it's buy two get one free. So I should have enough to keep me going for a while, but yeah, it's a shame that they've done that. Oh, that was it. The other one, the new ones also look not as bright, so they're more pastel-y as well. See the red? Not sure it's showing up. And it's because they've added, it looks like they've added titanium white to most of the colours in the new set, to give them a little bit more opaquency, to make them a little bit more opaque. Yeah, probably not the best idea. I'm going to pause this while I move these out of the way. So I've got the Pro Acryl range. So I've got the primary set, the metallic set, and one of the extension sets. I didn't buy all the extension sets because you tend to start to get a lot of colours that are very similar. Probably not going to need the metallics. So these are already pre-thinned, ready to go. We're going to need a darkish blue and a light blue. They're actually pretty accurate for a Yondu. We need purple. What else do we need? Oh, we need some red. I think that should be enough from this set. Let's see what we've got in this one. Dark flash, interesting. Burgundy, maybe a bit of that. And the rest will make up with some other colours. I'm not going to use these just yet. Going to need some red. mix up some browns. So let's see what these look like. So if anyone's wondering, this whole bunch of paints cost about the same as the Army Painter set. That's for all three of these. So that's the one. Perfect. So I'm going to put these to one side for a second. I'm not going to thin them down yet. Because we're going to do some stippling first. No, I'm not. I'm going to lay down some base colours on the base. I'm going to use some of these Army Painter as well. So I'm going to use Fur Brown. Yeah. This one's gone a bit thick. Some of these I haven't actually opened. These are from the original set, but I haven't opened them in well, I think I've had this set for about 4 years. So. Sorry, I just paused it there while I pulled off all of the tops and put out a few more colours. So I've just put out some Scale 75 Fantasy and Game Hasteler Purple and some Scale 75 Scale Colour Black Leather. Which I've mixed in with Army Painter Oak Brown. And this one here is the Pro Acryl. I'll be airbrushing with these shortly. This is just for the stippling of the leather. So I'll just show you how to do the fin so that it glows up on just the edges, and the yak arrow. You can get this bust from CG Trader. It's actually a really, really good one. So this arrow actually took about 20 attempts, and it's got 5 micro LEDs inside. So it's got one at the end here, then it's got 2 at the back here, one facing towards the end of the arrow and the other one facing in. Then it's got another one behind each one of these sort of dividers. So this isn't actually finished yet, but it's part way there. So this is how it would sort of sit on there. You can't drill this, so you have to make a hole here, and then you have to replace this front end of the arrow with a piece of pipe. So this is brass pipe. The reason for that is, even though this model is actually scaled up by quite a bit from the original, resin this thin warps. So as soon as you leave it on here and come back the next day, it's bent like a C shape. And there's, it doesn't matter what resin you use. We tried multiple times, it just bends. So yeah, you have to sort of cut the original arrow in half, cut the tip off, and then just sort of use a piece of pipe to put the tip back on and seal it over. You can't drill into this because it will split, so you have to use the Dremel grinding points, and you just sort of bore a hole into the middle, and then you sort of poke the LEDs down one at a time, and it takes quite a while to get them all the way down. And you also have to print this arrow hollowed at, I think it's about 60th of a millimeter. So the walls are extremely thin, but that's the only way to get the LEDs inside. And even then it was really, really difficult. I ended up using an airbrush, one of those cheap airbrush cleaning kits. So you get like those wire sort of prongs that you can stick in things. It's like a piece of wire that's wrapped up, so it sort of scrapes paint off stuff. I've never used one on an airbrush, but if you poke it down here, it will sort of strip out, sand away some of the barbs and stuff inside to make it nice and smooth. I was going to say I can link this up to a battery, but with the studio lights pointing at it, you really won't see very much. So yeah, so that's how you make the yak arrow. I'll just move that to one side. I have bought some fibre optic cable. So this is the, I think this is the 1 point, yeah. Is it 1.5 or the 2 mil? I'm not sure. It's 1.5 mil flexible fibre optic cable. So I can link this onto the back of the arrow, and I can put either a laser diode in the base and then make it sort of spin around him a little bit. I don't know. Just an idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to go with that yet. I've got so much stuff all over the place. It's unreal. So that's how I did the yak arrow. And for the fin, you have to paint this black. You don't need to prime this, just paint it black with just normal army painter black, but you have to give it multiple coats and then just keep checking it with an LED. So if you stick an LED inside and put it on a battery, you'll see that it doesn't, none of the edges will light up. And once it's all black, you just sort of take a scalpel blade and you sort of run it up all the edges, and it takes a while. You very carefully bring it over these edges, and then for the inlays and stuff you have to sort of really poke it in and scrape it up, and then you paint it normal, and then you do it all again, and then when you finish you'll end up with something like this picture. So I'm just going to start with the base. So I used some Army Painter gunmetal for this, and I added some black ink and some black paint to it, and sort of swirled it up a little bit, and then just piled it on there, so that it's made all these sort of weird swirls and patches. Looks quite dingy. It's ready for a dry brushing of a nice bright silver, but before I do that I'm just going to spray some red on there, just because it's from the scavenger ship and they have like a lot of red on there, and well, they have yellow as well, but there's a lot of like red strips along some of the corridors and stuff. So I'm just going to blast a little bit of red on here and then wear it off. So I'm going to use some AK Worn Effect up with the Revolution CR. I don't need too much of this, hopefully. Just going to give it a light spray. Oof, yeah, this needs cleaning. So much for the light spray. I don't need it everywhere anymore. That'll do. So just while I wait for the worn effect to dry, I'm just going to mix up a little bit of paint. Light blue. Don't need quite as much light blue. Red. That's a nice bright red. So now I'm going to add some thinner. And some flow improver. Where's this one? Still a little bit thick. Normally if you can paint along the bottom, it's too thick. That's better anyway, that'll do. This might need a little bit more thinner. Yeah. Just painting everything as I go. So what's this like? Almost there. Not quite, I've got some paint on it. Oops. So this will be done in just a second, but I'll just spray a base coat onto his head. Really liking this new camera lens and focus. Like it doesn't go all jittery and stuff. So I'm mainly focusing under his eyes. That's where it will be darkest. Under his nose, chin, neck, behind his ears. Wrinkles. What do you think of the new compressor? It's running now. You'll hear a little click when it goes off. So on his beard and stuff, there is a sort of like a greenish tint. So I've just mixed a little bit of Surfer Orc flesh. What the fuck? I don't know. From the fantasy and game, and some deep blue. I've watered that down, and I'm just gonna splodge a few bits in here, not much. Just wipe the blue paint off. It doesn't matter because there will be other layers over the top of this. That's just around his scars. Take a little bit of that off, and a bit of sponge. That'll do. This might need thinning down a little bit more. Wow, these are really nice paints. Now I'm going to quickly blast on some red. Now the weathering medium's dried. Wow, this paint goes really far. See? Already looking like a scavenger. Yep. So now we just have to wait for the red to dry. And water. Just going to take off any overspray. I think that'll do. Pretty cool. just going to soak up this water. There's a little bit of the overspray that I missed. We don't have to get every single bit. So leave this to dry. So now we're going to switch to some stippling. So his arms and this lower part of his jacket is like a more of a reddish purplish leather. This is more of a reddish leather, but then the top areas are more worn. So yeah, I'm just going to use a mishmash of different colours. I've got a couple of pieces of sponge. I've also got some synthetic real sponge and some real sponge. I'm not sure what to start off with. I'll start off with some black leather. Switch to some lighter tones. some extra tones in there, and the red. So before this dries, I'm just going to hit it with some water. Just going to quickly come in with a little bit of wash. So this is Citadel Caribou Crimson. I don't know where to get these names from. There's a bit much in there. Just going to spray this over the areas that we want purple. I know what you're thinking, that's starting to look like a mess, but don't worry about it, it's not. This is just the first layer. Nullen oil. That'll do. So I've just switched back to a little bit of the sort of greenish, bluish teal. I'm just going to add a little bit more on these. Just going to quickly dry brush this little last bit of white on. Oops, got a bit of brown in there. Oh, I think that would do. So now we're going to drift downwards. And that's going to rest on all of his highlights. Or give him all of his highlights. Now it's starting to look a little bit more like yonder. So now I'm just going to very quickly come in with this dark tone again and go up from the bottom. So I'm just going to come in with a Citadel shade as well. I'm going to be honest, I've never actually used this one, so and I've got a wet wipe just in case. This is water. Just going to create that bit of texture. So these are just like base layers, and like what, in less than an hour we've got this far. So, but once all these dark areas dry, we'll have a few more tones and stuff. I just don't want any puddles. Dampen those down a bit. Just going to leave that to dry for a minute. So I've just whipped up a little bit of the warm flesh, literally just a tiny little pinch. And that's just to spray on this neck part here. It's like a neckerchief or something. So I've just switched to some black. Just a pinch. Just to tidy up any overspray. We're getting it. So most of the washes have dried. There's a little bit of a over concentration here, but it's not really a big deal. Everything else has dried off nicely. So dry brushing again. A bit of white. start off somewhere out of the way. Let's give that a bit of a highlight. Lovely job there. Let's give this a highlight. So just quickly dry brushed his face a little bit. Now the wash has dried. Yeah, the wash has dried. We've got some nice dark tones. starting to look like yonder. I'm going to go back in with some more white, not much, just a little. Still got a little bit of work to do on his face, but I think that looks pretty decent to say, what, an hour and 30 minutes, including the base and his jacket. So this is basically the rest of the paint from in here. So that's Monster Brown, is it? Yeah. And I've just watered that down to basically water. And I've done the same with a little bit of the dark umber. So I took a little bit out of here and put it into here and watered that down. Now I just want to spray this all over basically. Really pale shade. So I actually forgot to press record, but I've just blasted over it with a little bit of the crimson shade, and now I've just got some Nuln oil. just spray onto his arms. And up some of these cracks and crevices. Now I know we're going to get this completely perfect in one video, in a 2-hour video anyway. Yeah, I think it's coming together nicely. Just take that. So just while I wait for the leather to dry and everything, I'm just going to put some of the veins on his face. Still going a bit iffy. So last but not least, I'm just going to jump onto some purple. Oh, a couple of different shades of purple. So I'm just going to add a couple of blasts in different places on this inside shirt thing. Inside shirt, his top. Just went over the edge of it. Actually, that looks better. Yeah. So I'm just adding a little bit of a purple tint back into his lower arms. Switch to this purple. I just used a little bit of silver just to dry brush over this base, just to bring out a few of these edges and stuff. So yeah, so this is what he looks like so far. Obviously, like I say, we've still got a lot of work to do on him, but to say this is just like an hour and 49 minutes, I think that's starting to look pretty good. You can see the veins on his head here. So yeah, I'm just going to call that a day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.